What up? What up? What up? Welcome
What's
to the
up?
Kicks of the Trade, where we're bridging your gap
the trade.
casual
We are
sneaker
bridging the
fan
gap
and
between your
avid
casual
sneaker
sneaker
enthusiast.
and
I'm your girl Kels. So excited to be
Chris,
back.
I missed you.
Chris.
I missed you too.
What
is up? Blessed.
Welcome
blessed,
back.
blessed.
We missed you.
Feels good.
All our fans missed you. You know, it was nice to have Justin on the show.
Last episode we did not get to do together. Unfortunately, you weren't able to be here on camera with me. So
there's only one Kelsey Cristiano. You and Justin,
but you held it down. You held it down.
Thank you.
I appreciate him coming on the show.
It was nice listening to him last week.
Yeah, it was good to
good job, guys.
Catch up a little bit and just hear about his little sneaker.
And that's the dirty Air Force One. But these girls,
yeah, it's good to have you back. You know. How was your trip? How was everything?
It's good to be back.
You got some sneaker stories I hear while you were gone.
Let's hear about I have a few sneaker stories. Yeah, okay. I did some traveling. It was
welcome.
It was really fun. I was gone probably longer than I needed.
You know, kind of feeling like
ready to come home.
Giving us ladies a little bit of a
I think that's when you know it's like a good trip. Like
there,
we got to do a lot of fun stuff.
Dirty Air Force One's a new pandemic.
It was definitely awesome. I
heard it here.
Man, I saw.
Ring the alarm! Ring the alarm! Take off those dirty Air Force Ones. Throw them away.
Or
invest in some shoe cleaner.
I told you, man. I'm not about that crossword. We talked about that in the travel episode too.
And another thing,
we were talking about it on the travel episode. I actually took your advice. I decided I was traveling in some Jordan ones,
and I was fortunate enough to get my hands on a pair.
They were comfy.
But I did see a lot of hype around them.
I felt cute walking through the airport.
Right, Thomas reached out to some fans.
There you go. You're welcome.
Trading a jersey.
Snap a nice picture of my final destination wearing the same outfit that I had on.
I feel like he should be able to.
My entire travel time.
Afford them, but it's different to get them that way.
But
so I appreciate him going out the old school route and trying to trade. Shout out to
all I've been seeing is
Isaiah Thomas
and then the Yeezy.
Holla at me, man. I think I can get you a pair.
Yeah, like I don't think I saw any Yeezy slides. I saw some.
I would love for you to make that happen.
Definitely, but really a lot of.
Well, I reached out to him. So Isaiah Thomas.
The pins on them, I guess.
That's the thing. That crop with the
wave right now.
It's a thing. The pins is like hit me up, like almost like a badge of honor. Like if you like something, it's almost like what reminds me of those Pandora bracelets.
Kobe PEs and
like
charms.
Absolutely. That's like the equivalent.
Yeah, like the charms.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't have that in my possession. So I'll have to see what I can come up with
here in Denver.
Probably like my entire sneaker collection.
The Bad Bunny
would have to be on the.
Oh, I haven't seen them, but I've heard them. I haven't seen them. I know Post Malone has one. We talked about that before.
Yeah,
I
would never pay $500 for a croc. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no way. It's just a little ridiculous to me, but apparently this is kind of a thing. This is a trend. Saw a lot.
Relatively new.
It's the wave.
Yeah.
And then
but
what
I
about
saw.
So what is?
I was gonna say. I think my best kick story from the trip was this guy. Man, we met this really cool guy in Belize who was running a coconut shop. And it was awesome. They would just bring the coconuts down and cut them right open and pour some rum in them, and they were so tasty. And
we're just gonna give you a little bit of game on why what creates hype and buzz, and even some people want to know is resale value in some of these sneakers or that nostalgia value.
Just like you could tell he was just
so that's one of the things I really want to talk to you guys about today, or we want to talk. Excuse me. We want to talk to you guys about today is because
he loves
you want to know. It's something that you want to know.
Because like the passion on his face with those Jordans, he was so proud of those Jordans. Like it was like it was like really nice to see that somebody's so appreciative of.
No, it's crazy, and I get that question.
It almost makes me feel like I need to like just destroy a pair of Jordans.
Not into sneakers at all, but
that
they're
much love and
paying
appreciation
attention
for. Because like you couldn't tell him nothing. Like I was like he was so proud of that picture. Like
what's
you guys
the
haven't
big
seen
deal? Like
it's just on our Instagram.
It's a sneaker. Like what makes this one better than this one, and
Kicks
why
of the
the
Trade
hell are these shoes
podcast,
selling
but it's a
so
Kicks in a Wild
expensive?
post.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's literally the essence of Kicks in a Wild.
What is it for you,
just
Chris?
wearing your
Like
shit,
what
your
gets
shoes,
you personally
loving life.
excited
this is the
about
essence of
certain
Kicks
sneaker?
Of the trade.
Yeah, that's a good question. So for me,
I love that. I saw another pair too.
It goes back to the basketball factor for me, how it originally started.
Breakfast burrito at this food
I've always been a basketball
Belize,
guy.
and he was
So
wearing
what
some
creates
Jordan
that hype and
11s,
that buzz for me is
he was really proud of those too.
What
we'll
Jordan
share those
did
later.
I mean, like,
but
so if Jordan dropped this amount of points,
what's the best
or
shoe
had
you
this
saw the entire
historical
duration?
factor to his career that's what the shoe means to me a little bit more than anything else.
Duration.
I'm more of an OG in terms of my nostalgia factor when it comes to sneakers. I like the original colorways.
Atmosphere, island.
So original colorways for Michael Jordans are like
those
white,
were probably
black, and red.
Two best shoes that I did see while I was out there, because like no one was like
red and white
out there.
That's also known as a bread colorway. So I'm more of a nostalgia factor.
Yeah, and
like
when you
those
did,
type
most
of,
people were wearing.
I'm more of a hype factor in that sense.
Like everyone was wearing Birkenstock.
But yeah, that's what it really gets me excited about a sneaker in terms of hype.
I'm such a sneakerhead.
What about you?
Think of the thought of
Birkenstocks.
Like Yeezy,
I would have to agree too. I think that's really where
Crocs,
the hype
it just like burns me
starts
to
for me, or rings
a
bell.
Think about having one of those shoes.
You know,
watch what one of those companies want to sponsor
there's
us
like
too.
marketing
I doubt it, but
in terms of like how to create buzz, how to create hype.
I don't know about that one.
How is it?
It would be hard for me to push them.
It's definitely
like and be genuine about it
over the years.
Yeah, but I didn't see a ton of sneakers being worn in the locations that I was at.
Realize in terms of the sneaker world
nothing like is super crazy. Yeah,
you know, having more.
That's good.
But
so you want to get into it? Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So today's episode is going to be all about the
and
Olympics.
That causes
the
this
Olympics
just excitement around a product that like
I've been watching a little bit. I'm excited to hear what
like
you've
for me too. Like I look back on like
some of your favorite events and really just want to get into a conversation of some of our favorite sneaker
the Jordan
moments.
Jordan 11 Concord.
Yeah,
you think back when that shoe originally
the Olympics
came out,
is like a big deal. Like to me, in terms of like a sneakerhead. Yeah, it's a big deal
and
because
then like
there's so much
and then they
story
start
behind the sneakers that
releasing these shoes again later
people,
on.
But people who aren't sneakerheads really just don't understand. And even like
that there's just one shoe that comes out, only Jordan's got it. And everyone sees it on his feet, and they're like, "Oh my God, how do I get my hands on it?"
He was just off of sneakers in the Olympics, and we're really about to touch on some of
being
those.
able to re-release these shoes later, hence
you
retros.
may not even realize how big they are.
Now people can finally start to get their hands on it. And I think that's why those sneakers,
I'm a basketball guy. I always loved basketball.
There's already this hype involved because
basketball is my number one sport to watch during the Olympics. USA is really struggling.
I think it gives people that feeling of like, the Gatorade commercials. Kind of hard to watch.
Like Mike, I do love seeing the kicks, especially now that there's a lot of NBA players on these other teams. These sneaker companies are really showing off for them. I know like
that factor is definitely huge. Even with getting Kobe's
some love.
I mean, I think the Kobe's have that
the Lafayette Dragon.
Kobe's a little bit different because
he has those.
I think his hype.
I love seeing Team USA.
His collaborations on who the shoes are with, like an undefeated.
Just USA's whole lineup is crazy. Like to see Dame Lillard and his own like USA.
Everybody wanted to be Adidas, part of Undefeated in LA. Like Undefeated is a huge streetwear brand.
Kevin Durant, and then also Devin
but that's what also creates some of this hype as well. To segue into the next portion of it, another factor I should say it is the streetwear culture. I like watching gymnastics, like the Undefeated, the Supremes, the Potters.
Gotta love gymnastics.
I can go on and on. There's a ton of them. And I think that's part of definitely what helped
for
the Travis Scotts this weekend is
I don't know what that's going to look like for her individual
because I don't think we've ever seen
or if she, I think she can still compete individually.
Great magnitude in terms of height come together on a shoe like a Jordan.
Dropped out of the team due to mental
Fragment
health.
is another
street. You know what? I applaud her for doing
that. Designer.
I know she's going to take a lot of criticism.
I can't remember his name.
Hopefully, people rally around her and understand that.
Yo, but it's all he has people train. He has a very influential streetwear design into account. And then with Travis Scott, obviously Travis Scott, we know how big he is right now. That creates a massive buzz.
Hey, I got to take a step back and take care of myself. I applaud her
and I think
on that because I know people
interesting thing that I've noticed
do your thing, do what you're supposed to do and get it done. Stop being so soft.
Travis Scott.
No, like mental health is a real thing.
What is the first?
I think we really need to take that seriously and applaud her for
that came out. What were those called again?
I'm gonna put me first and my health.
This is Travis Scott.
That's just the Travis Scott, right? Travis Scott.
And I think Jordan, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing about athletics.
It's almost the same shoe that just got released again,
100%. And I think that I agree with you completely.
So the hype of Travis Scott is already
with that.
there.
I can understand that she's
because of
in the spotlight. There's a lot of pressure.
Original sneaker that he came out with, and
their Olympian athlete who also did something similar to her was Naomi Osaka last year when she sold out
different colors.
The
I thought was really interesting is
she pulled out a US Open
after
and
the
then
Travis
sat out
Scott's came out initially.
Okay.
Then you get the
due
Jordan
to
Mochas.
mental health issues.
You know, it's like a very, very
shout out those
shoes
ladies
for putting
on the same hype
in those
situations. And
through
Naomi was
artists
killing it. She
and
got
changing
to
that
light the cauldron
colorway
for the opening ceremony.
So it's similar enough where like they kind of look like the Travis Scotts, and then that's just like
she was. I think
they're turning it into a hype into sales.
She's
making it more attainable. They're making it more attainable.
I mean, more attainable. The Mochas are more attainable.
When I was
Travis Scott,
you're not going to have to pay thousands of dollars for the Mochas
shoes coming out for her.
And then also the Mochas.
I know that they dropped a clothing line
they do favor the Mochas,
but I was excited to see her perform more too.
That's
I know.
Nike, give her a signature shoe. Let's stop playing. Let's stop playing with these females.
Feed off or build off or take advantage of the hype that was created off that Travis Scott. And when it comes to that, absolutely, it's a great don't drop comparison right there. I think they did it originally again, like you said. I don't know if you're familiar, but they came out with a fragment Jordan 1 many years ago.
Blazers,
that was super insanely rare.
That's not considered
it's not a
signature shoe.
They
It's
did
just
it again with Travis Scott.
Similar
collab. It's not quite the same.
It's a PE, a player edition.
But they built off that hype of the fragment on the Jordan 1. Now let's do the fragment Jordan 1 and let's put Travis.
All right, before we get into some of our
super hype beast baby
in this Olympics for 2020,
I mean, it's 2021. Also marketing.
Chris, what are some of your?
But that's one of the things. Also,
in the past,
another factor that creates these
sneaker moments as it relates to the Olympics.
High fashion houses.
Yeah, so I think the first one that
like
really stands out, and I think the most important
we're starting to see Louis Vuitton,
Jesse Owens with
and
now this story is pretty.
So I'm going to take a
major in terms of just
in terms of that high fashion house. So and I said Dior, but also Louis Vuitton. And the reason why I mentioned Louis Vuitton specifically is because
Virgil Abloh
I mean, it was so important to their culture to like.
If you don't know who Virgil Abloh is, Virgil Abloh is the guy who started Off-White.
Black man, Jesse
Off-White. Now, if you're familiar, Off-White also does collaboration with Nike. Now Nike's doing collaboration with Louis Vuitton. Now, if you see that, he's coming full circle. He's making that little hype beast baby. Another hype beast baby. So now Louis Vuitton is doing
Adi Dessler.
Hype beast cycle for sure. Because Louis Vuitton never did a collaboration with Nike before, not of this magnitude. Now they're coming out with a whole fall line of Air Force Ones that we may have seen in like custom design work. Now we're seeing it as like a retail design.
Huge,
monumental. As like,
so
this
that
is
was.
Fashion
I think that has to be like one of the biggest moments, if not the biggest moment.
So you might see
in Olympic history,
Nike coming out with $600-700 shoes at retail, which has never before been a thing.
For me, I'm not going to rank them like 1-2, but that one stands out in my mind the most because of just how much
100%. It's crazy. And I mean, on top
balls
of it all, it's like
or courage. Let's use the
there's
word courage.
Other element
but how much
to it
courage
is the
that
influencer
takes
element.
First of all, you're already in the
once
Olympics, which is enough pressure as itself.
On
but then
a larger
you're going to wear an Adidas shoe and a guy who's outwardly opposing Hitler
and then there's this crazy other segment
man, that
of the
takes courage, man.
online
so shout out to Jesse
Instagram
Owens.
influencer
And then he goes
market,
and dominates.
Where
you
put in shoe, it doesn't even have to be like a super hyped up shoe, but you put it in their hands, it's shared everywhere.
To me, that's like one of the
it becomes a hyped up shoe.
Iconic moments that stands out. I have a few more, but I'll let you say
falls into scarcity, but also the next portion.
I think that is a huge moment because when you look at like the development of sneakers and where they really started, it was so much on like the track and field.
That's another part of the hype, like to see. Oh, I got the shoes that DJ
track and field stage.
You know, like DJ Khaled got these before anybody else got them.
Yeah, and I think
DJ Khaled don't wear hardly any of those shoes, but you see DJ Khaled got them, you're like, oh, these might blow up.
For so long, especially after that moment.
Everybody knows if you're in the sneaker culture, you know DJ Khaled's like one of those guys.
Was for me that I've really enjoyed learning more about was in the 1968
PJ Tucker's getting shoes before his teammates whose signature shoes they are.
And again,
Nike doesn't do that on purpose. Come on, Nike's giving shoes to PJ Tucker before Giannis.
Adidas's brother, so they've but it has pretty much
because they know his influence in the sneaker culture, which is
but this
the hype. He creates the hype that goes back to your influencer. So I think his influence actually made him a better basketball player.
They switched
it up
at the time. I think you could only have 8 spikes in your track shoes,
that's
and
a crazy
they were
concept.
super innovative.
It's totally true. Everyone's kind of looking at PJ Tucker within sneaker world, like what's he got?
Shoe.
Like,
and people were breaking all sorts of
you put something on his feet,
with this shoe, and
right. And
it was John Carlos.
He's in a league
running in it
with a bunch of
Tommy
guys
Smith,
who have shoe contracts and signature shoes.
What happened?
And they look at him as like the sneaker king.
Didn't allow this shoe
because I'm like, any shoe he
be used in the Olympics because there were 68
but I think what PJ Tucker gets
breaking the rule of 8, and they wouldn't.
He goes out and gets those.
Big controversy with it that Adidas basically like blackmailed them into not being able to use that shoe at the Olympic trials.
He doesn't go after just hype.
There's a little
he goes after the things that are super and insanely
John
rare.
Carlos, who
and also he doesn't have a shoe contract with Nike, or he doesn't have a signature shoe.
Gold that
and
year.
He gets shoes that some of the players who have these signature shoes don't even have.
If you see that
very impressive
picture of the two of them on the
sneaker
hunter with their fists up.
And you don't really like go for hype stuff.
Very
I know we've talked about that a lot on the show. Like,
and they've got their Pumas all about right there at the bottom of the stands. They're both there's kind of and the Pumas right there in the.
I don't know the best word
on the podium with them.
Like,
so I think that's
hype is not necessarily a good thing because sometimes like
there was a lot of tension in the United States at that time.
They're not that great, but they've just been hyped.
100%.
Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think there's a fine line between
because they were so celebrated.
There's a term that we use in the culture called hype beast.
At home,
so hype beast is somebody who just gets it because everybody else thinks it's cool, or somebody else thinks it's cool.
They talk about this moment,
and it may or may not be that moment. They got stripped of their medals after that's neither here nor there. But you just only made it because you think everybody else is going to think it's cool.
They were definitely
that's a hype.
So
they hype beast is not the worst thing, but it's not the best thing. I really applaud them. I personally associate a hype beast with your whole life, a perpetrator or a poser. And then you hold up a fist to show like somebody who's like not really into the culture. They just do it because it's a cool thing to do. You lose your gold. I am not. I would not consider myself a hype beast. Like for me, the Travis Scott
it wasn't no big heavy endorsements.
I think it's the best shoe of the year, not even top 5.
Don't get me wrong, Kaepernick
was awesome. I think the shoe's okay. I think the lows are top 5s. Absolutely,
he got paid. Like,
but the
those
Travis
two guys,
Scott
they didn't get nothing.
I mean, excuse me, the highs.
Nobody's giving them endorsements. They weren't getting
they're overrated. Like, I don't think they're that
heavy praise. They weren't getting out sneakers. They didn't get their own line of clothing.
Obsidians look better than
those. They lost their medals.
I think the University Blues look better than those.
Now, are they iconic? Yes,
and I also think the lows look better than those.
That's an ultimate sacrifice to get your message across.
If I had the opportunity to get them, would I get them? Absolutely,
100%.
I just don't think the shoes
because of the hype.
Big moment for me.
No, not because of the hype. I think the colorway is nice.
As we look at sneakers throughout history and how they've impacted and changed over the years. So yeah, that was a huge moment.
But if I had to go
one of my favorite moments
Obsidian or that,
even though I wasn't around.
Obsidian, right? My next one is.
I mean, but does hype factor in sometimes? Absolutely, because you never want to be part of the person that misses
and be American and not think of the dream team.
Yeah.
So
mine has to be the dream team,
and
because there
this is another thing too that I've noticed,
on that roster.
The re-release of sneakers.
So like they dominate on the court, and then they
that's just
dominate with style,
and then they dominate with footwear. Selling more sneakers.
They were rock stars in the Olympics.
The shoe's
like,
been hyped up, and then
everyone's butt.
People are bummed that they missed out.
And that was the first year that they were allowed to have NBA players in the Olympics.
And they show why we're the best.
What else did they do? They'll do like
what they also
like
did
a restock.
They sparked
sometimes it's like a surprise. Like I know you'll hit me up and be like, "Get on sneakers up right now," and I'm like,
"That's why we have the Luka Doncic. That's why we have like the Peter Stojakovic's and all those guys overseas."
It's kind of hit or miss, I guess, but I think that's
they globalized basketball to a point that we've never seen. I think it's a tactic for multiple Michael Jordan. From what I heard, originally the reason why
still an iconic shoe to this day. I have that shoe, love it. One of my to lower the price of the resale in rotation right now.
Nike wanted to.
So the Olympic 7s, they got the Barkley 180s. So they did Barkley 180s, one of the first shoes to have like that air bubble
they had
around the bottom
that was laying around,
and then also
and they did restocks.
And then also
a lot of reasons
Pippins.
I heard.
So with the air, the Pippins with the air on the
I like
side.
it. I think it's good for
like
the game.
remember the up tempo Pippins.
It gets me excited, even though I very insanely rarely
those. No.
Oh, you haven't seen those up tempos? Oh, you got to see.
I mean,
I don't think so. Well, they're not ringing a bell right now. But
so Scottie Pippen came out with
also
a
bad thing for the sneaker,
and he wore them in Olympics. And it has
I think people who are purists like yourself and I,
and
He wore those in the Olympics, but those
brings
are
people in who necessarily
one of the hottest shoes, 3 hottest shoes in America, and
they know what
the best basketball team in America was wearing them, so they went on to win gold and just dominate.
Like how many people went after Travis Scott?
The shelves with the shelves
probably had no interest,
so that's my next big
either who Travis Scott was, or they knew what they can do.
And bouncing off on that too, I mean, this is not necessarily related to sneakers, but Michael Jordan, when he was on the podium, that was the time that they draped the flag covering up the Reebok.
He did.
Yeah.
But
you know, like they like coexist
he's like,
together.
I'm not gonna try to promote another brand.
He's so team Nike that like that was a conscious thought in his head. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm thinking about yes, I just won gold medal, but I'm about to cover up this Reebok so they don't get no pub off of me.
Sexiness of it.
I'm all Nike's checks.
No, you tie that in with the nostalgia part of it.
But like that's like that's crazy to think about. Like you're so business minded. Like no,
I mean you're not wrong because think about this. If there's no hype culture around sneakers or any of that you're just referring to, do we even have a podcast? I mean we're
talking about it right now.
We do, but I think what more people wouldn't be as interested in this culture if there wasn't this allure to it or this like anything tied to it. So I will say. I mean, like you said, it's a gift and a curse, and I mean,
should I call out the fact that I don't have my headphones on anymore for people that are watching on YouTube?
I mean, I love it.
They probably won't even notice.
If it goes away, I'll still be here. I was here before. It was like a cool thing to do.
I mean, we can edit all this.
I think you'll be around a long time. So I'm
okay. And so jumping off,
I just want more people to
really
learn.
Cool moment I thought was when
why. And I want more people.
We got all that.
We got all that.
We got all that. But you said something about like after I said he draped the flag, he was so busy.
I'm never gonna knock you your hustle.
Oh, because I was gonna talk about
for making money. But I just love that when people are just
excited
to get a new pair of sneakers. Like for me, like,
and another thing, I don't know
I was
if you saw this or not, but
I got a gift,
Reebok actually, when Last Dance
came out,
re-released those Reebok
I don't care. I wanted the newest Jordans,
and they did like spit. So they actually started selling these again because it was kind of obviously being aired on Last Dance, and they switched where the logo went.
I was getting
because they had made a little comment during the airing of Last Dance that was like, we would have preferred for you to put the flag over your right shoulder.
That's how I was.
Like that.
Right.
So they switched the side. Love it. Went on. So they got their little.
There's another question that just came to mind too, because we talked a lot about
20 years later.
Hype culture and not being tied to nostalgia. And
so what's your next moment?
Celebrities or influencers or athletes.
Man,
do you ever get like do you see
so
hype
1996 Michael Johnson
has it been like backed by an artist or keywords for that matter? Like how does that play into it? Like, specific colorways.
And then later on Usain Bolt, I think it was in the
hype on the
2008
colorway will always be black,
Olympics.
white, and red because of Michael Jordan and what he did with the
Usain
Bulls.
Bolt beat his record
and then you also have to
in
go
some
back
gold
to
Puma
OG
spikes.
how it started.
They started that whole wave of the gold. Like Michael Johnson,
I'm gonna make it because I'm
did something a lot of people didn't realize is
but
that
it's a very loaded question. The Chicago colorway,
really made it
the bread colorway
to wear the gold spikes, but it's also a bold statement to say I'm gonna go out here and win gold. Look at my kicks.
The Royals,
that's a bold statement to make. Like,
are probably
I'm wearing gold because I'm bringing home the gold. Like, that's a
Jordan one.
That's a confident
flow.
Like, these are the
colorways that
I like
really just got it popping.
Because you can't wear those. You can't wear those
OG colorways
or silver.
It's hard to say like a specific colorway doesn't have hype attached
it just
to
wouldn't look all that.
I think every black and red Jordan is gonna have a good chance to do well.
And then now
you're putting the pressure on
attached to it,
and now you're seeing the gold,
just
like
black, white, and red. Like fire
released like a gold Air Max outfit, and it's kind of more of like a common thing. But like Michael Johnson started that whole
black, white, and red shoe to do well.
I actually wore gold track spikes when I ran track as well.
To answer your question, attached
not fully gold.
That
was probably really bold on my part. They just had a little bit of gold accents, but
my son has
because I can't associate really one celebrity with a specific colorway.
I mean, it's like it's normal now, but at the time,
except Michael Jordan with black and red, because like Travis Scott doesn't have like a specific.
That Olympics had a lot going on,
but I will say Frag has a little bit more of a colorway. but not even
Cheryl
not like how Michael Jordan
came
like.
out.
You think Michael Jordan?
That was like that was the first women's signature.
Wait, what's the frag color? It would be blue, white.
She debuted those in the '96 Olympics, which was awesome.
It would be
those shoes are fire.
And royal blue, black and white. But I wouldn't even say that's his colorway.
So like
that
was
ahead of his time. Like I wouldn't say like.
And then they went on and dominated
because if you look at all the other frag shoes,
they picked a good time to debut those sneakers because the world's watching.
Yeah.
It's a
great time to I guess that varies so much to the individual. Like for me, like
being shown on an athlete,
attached to certain colorways because I have certain
huge moments
that I like to wear in my style.
Everyone's gonna remember like what shoes
I just
know
looks good on me. That's why usually I'm more like beige
and
neutrals person.
What other
and those colorways
moments do you remember?
To me,
one of my favorite as more recent.
But yeah, I don't know if there's necessarily like crazy hype around it as much as
but like my childhood.
Right.
Remember when Vince Carter dunked over the Frenchman?
Well, the next let me ask you this then.
Man,
so if you don't have a colorway
shoe came out, everybody was trying to dunk on everybody with that shoe.
Like
so he was wearing the Shocks.
More people.
So that's when the Shocks had just dropped
those colors,
and everybody, because I was working in a clothing store, and everybody's like, "Yo, do the shoes really make that noise?"
Like so,
the commercial, everybody be like, "Boing, boing, 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 boing," and then you hear somebody take off.
Do you think that
the shoe doesn't make the noise, but man, they didn't market that shoe like that. But just seeing Vince Carter
now they feel like
do something so athletic in a shoe.
So do you think that's why
you market it as like
more hype around
technology with a spring in it?
Possibly. I mean, I think it.
Shocking.
I think it makes sense because I think there's like almost.
And then for somebody
like
to do that, you're like, it sells itself after that. You don't even need a commercial. That was it.
You've been in it for a long time. Like
we probably one of the most athletic movies we've ever seen in basketball.
I feel like I kind of came in like,
let alone in sports. And then you have that shoe that's supposed to make you jump higher
whereas
and run
I
faster,
remember
but it really
those
doesn't. It didn't market that way, but it makes you feel.
I wasn't like really living.
It
makes you, and then you have like.
It sells itself.
Like
it sells itself.
The younger kids today that are buying a bunch of sneakers because it's cool.
I think
I feel like that generation is a little bit more drawn to the colorway.
The Redeem team. So that's when the USA won bronze in the Olympics.
These are the sneakers. These are
everybody's like, yo, USA
white
is falling
cements
off.
that Michael Jordan wore in the whatever
USA
game.
don't have it anymore. They're not the dream team. Boom, boom,
so it's just like this
then
evolution
they get these superstars. Like they get Kobe,
sneaker hype.
LeBron. D Wade.
See, and that's what I'm starting
Chris
to realize.
All the top guys committed to play, which is like super rare these days now. They all committed to play because they wanted to put USA back on Mellow. Did I say Mellow?
Yeah.
Sneakers. Whereas like I was only wearing sneakers.
They wanted to put all those guys back on the map. Or put USA, back on the map, and they're like, "No, we committed to play."
Because back in the day, you couldn't wear
the shoe at that time. Like it had like the USA insignia on it, like a lot, and that was I think the Beijing Olympics, so it had like a lot of Asian accents on it. But those kicks were super fire, like they're insanely fire.
Houses that we talked about earlier,
I think those were
attached to them because they look cooler with jeans now. Like I wouldn't say necessarily all my Jordans look cool with jeans. Now they look. Now these sneakers kind of look cool with jeans, or like they look cool with more fitted sweats.
The neon
obviously weren't wearing sweats back then.
At the podium,
like
I
yellow
think
neon.
the evolution is going with the evolution of fashion.
At the podium, those were fire. Because that's when that whole like neon shoe wave was around, like from 2012 to 2016.
I don't think you would have seen an all red
that whole
sneaker
neon
in
shoe wave, which was a big deal. Have a shoe that bright.
Can we wear sneakers at the club now? Like, I mean, Denver, I feel like is like a very different, like going out.
Yeah,
like you could,
and it sold that shoe. Like I don't remember exactly what that shoe was, but I saw a lot of people wearing it after
right. Like
and
it's just
and comfortable wearing that color.
Was that before me?
A lot of people were comfortable wearing that color.
I remember you had to have like a hard bottom shoe. Like you couldn't have no
shoes
and it
kind
of
Timbs.
Draws some parallels to
I think sneakers are the wave. Like I remember you couldn't wear sneakers in the office.
You know, like I remember we had some of what we're seeing in today's Olympics.
You had to wear like dress shoes to the games.
The Nike,
you know, now that's
Nike's obviously the main sponsor for
evolution of the game.
Here.
I think that's about.
They're doing all the podium, if I'm not mistaken. Like podium uniforms.
Tune in next week because
most of it,
will
and then I think a winner in terms of this
coming up.
Years,
go to
we announced our
Olympics.
Secret.
What?
They got to
no. I say yeah. Go ahead. Hit on that topic.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, I think the winner for me is Nike SB's collaboration.
This is Kicks of the Trade. You can find us on Instagram at kicksofthetrade.podcast.
It works either way.
Give us a follow on
he's a Dutch.
Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. I'm Kelsey Cristiano.
Dutch
you can find me on Instagram.
Right?
I'm not sure,
Cristiano.
But his stuff is always fire.
No H in Cristiano.
C-R-I-S-T-I. Yeah, so
Chris
developed
the
C_hollows HOLO.
So they've got
countries that are Nike.
House of Trade.
Okay, so he's developing all the uniforms for the countries that are wearing Team Nike
people.
or part of Team Nike. Okay, yeah, they're pretty sick. They're like white, orange,
appreciate you
crimson,
guys. Love you guys. Chris,
colors.
As always, it's awesome.
Nike's theme for that
give us some reviews, guys. Give us those
I
follows. Subscribe.
That's like their
appreciate you.
And we're gonna be more active on social.
They're
so really comment on our TikToks and our on our what? IGs.
If
Reels, you guys will see our faces a lot more now.
Oh God!
Those uniforms, I definitely want to copy USA one. Those are just so fire. I think all the countries they did a good job.
What up? Welcome to the Kicks of the Trade, where we're bridging your gap between your casual
fire. I'm
definitely and avid sneaker enthusiast. I'm your girl Kels. So excited to be
absolutely
back
for sure, 1000%, without a doubt. Have you want to
say
I'm going after
blessed.
Also, what I want to do is I want to shout out 3-on-3 basketball. This is the first year 3-on-3 basketball is an Olympic sport, and I was actually one of the people who, like, one of the original people who played 3-on-3 for USA. So I do want to shout out to
thank you.
Yeah. Me, my guy Derek Griffin, Corey Campbell, Patrick Hanaway.
Awareness to a cause that's really near and dear to my heart.
Teams for USA.
Dirty Air Force One by these girls.
I want to talk more about
summertime.
Yeah. We can talk about that.
I hate the Dirty Air Force One.
Time left in today's
it looks so bad.
But yeah, it's just cool to see from where it was to where it is now. We were just playing just 3-on-3 events.
About it. I was
world 3x3 world championship
like
events.
Giving us ladies a little bit of a bad
so it's cool
there.
To see. You know what's messed up?
Like
USA didn't
Air Force One's is a new pandemic.
Yeah.
But the women's did. The women's are killing it.
They lost.
Ring the alarm! Ring the alarm!
Yeah.
Take
they
off
are holding
those
it down.
dirty
We
Air
need
Force
to win
ones.
it.
Either throw them away.
I don't know who's going to win on the
invest
men's side. I'm going to take a wild guess, and I'm going to go with Serbia. Serbia has a really good 3-on-3 team.
And then
for the
another thing you talked
women's,
about
I'm going
is,
USA all the way.
Travis Scott.
But USA, we got to start stepping up.
And I was not fortunate enough to get my hands on a pair.
That was pretty embarrassing. On that,
but I did see a lot of hype around them.
16-2 run.
I saw Isaiah Thomas reached out to some fans
game. I was like,
about
guys,
trading a jersey, some Kobe PEs.
I don't know.
He's willing to do a lot for him, and I feel like he should be able to. I know he can afford them, but it's different to get him that way.
Played 3-on-3
so I appreciate him going out the
U.S. men's team at one point.
Shout out to House of Trade.
So who can qualify for that team? Like, are they allowed to
at me, man. I think I can get you a
NBA players on that team?
So, okay, that's a good question.
I would love for you to make that happen with Isaiah Thomas.
To have NBA players on that team.
I reached out to him. So Isaiah Thomas,
the common guy,
I'll let your boy. I think you want
playing or
like
5'9", Yeah, playing in it. On the men's side, the women's side, they're using pros. They're using pros on the women's side, but they didn't want to bring the pros to the men's side because there's like a bunch of qualifying tournaments you have to do to get in.
I don't have that in my possession, so I'll have to see what I can come up with.
They haven't said it yet, but they're going to go to NBA.
Probably like my entire sneaker collection
the USA
would have to be on the
doesn't like us losing
on the boat for that.
And if they could prevent that and bring in NBA players, like you'll see like a great 3-on-3 player, you'll see like Trae Young, possibly Ja Morant, Zion Williamson would be real good as a 3-on-3 player.
Like a lot of people,
the only issue is you might see with those NBA guys is it's outside and they use sport court. So those can be one of the reasons why you may not see NBA guys unless they bring it indoors.
Who doesn't know?
They bring it indoors, or they have like a hardwood.
Why is this?
Because they have a different type of court.
Correct.
Right?
So those are you're more susceptible to injuries.
Or why
so you kind of want to prevent that
material better than that material. So we're just gonna give you a little bit of game on why. What creates hype and buzz?
That makes sense. I think
even some people want to know is resale value in some of these sneakers
like
or
overseas players.
That nostalgia value.
Yeah.
I think you'll see. For that?
So that's one
I think you'll see. As long as they're American, just like
we want to talk. Excuse me.
Yeah, like
we want to talk to you guys.
I think you'll see like
because. You want to know. It's something that you want to know. Sometimes
I think you'll see.
I
think what they're going to do first is bring the top college prospects in.
But sometimes I don't even know.
You'll see the Kate Cunningham. So
no, it's crazy, and I get that question a lot from
those
people
type
that are
of guys playing in
not
Olympics
into sneakers at all, but they're
before they
paying
use
attention
superstars.
To me doing a podcast, and
LeBron's
really just curious and want to learn more. But it's
like
also
I can see guys like Trae Young.
What's the big deal? Like it's just
but like a CJ McCollum,
sneaker, like what makes this one
Michael
better than this one?
Michael Porter Jr. was actually the ideal
3-on-3
player because he can play all positions. He's long. He can play the post.
What is it for you, Chris? Like what gets you personally?
You can shoot from the outside
about a certain sneaker.
Ben Simmons
that's a good
play
question.
for Australia, but Ben Simmons would not be a good 3-on-3 player because he can't shoot.
It goes
from
back
the
to the basketball,
but he can't attack
for me,
the basket.
how it originally started.
That's what they like too.
I've always been a basketball guy. So what creates that hype and that buzz for me is
he's a big guard though. That's what they like. Big, like Jordan 3 is ideal for big guards and people who can guard every position. Like Jason Tatum would be an ideal player.
Or had this historical factor to his career.
Cool things to come.
That's what the shoe means to me a little bit more than anything else. I'm more of an OG in terms of like my nostalgia factor.
I want the gold for USA.
I like the original colorways.
I know.
So original colorways for Michael Jordans are like white, black, and red.
I mean, it's not over for them. Yeah, I think they play
black, red, and
Thursday.
white. That's also known as a bread colorway.
We'll see what happens then. I'm excited to see
I'm more
track
of a
and field
nostalgia
get
factor.
kicked off.
I like those type of. I'm more of a hype factor in that sense.
To me, that's one of the most exciting events is the track.
But that's what it really gets me excited about.
It's so crazy watching it. Like I don't know.
What about you?
I'm getting confused because like it's kind of interesting to see. You see
the
results before you see a lot of these.
I think that's really where
games going on.
The hype,
the social media
starts for me, or rings a bell.
I'm like confused as hell, like trying to figure out.
There's like marketing.
The most recent thing on my
how do we create buzz?
How do I've got them all like recording and stuff.
How is it done? I think companies. It's definitely
happened like 2 days ago
over the years.
Right. So I'm struggling with that.
And I think an important.
It was easier when there was no social media.
Realize in terms of the sneaker world
as well.
Is
now it's just like we're getting
having more
constant information.
Demand, and you have like availability. Right?
You got anything else today to wrap for today?
And that causes this just excitement around a product that like
maybe we'll have a list. Maybe I might get Derek and Corey up here
for
to
me
talk
too.
about
Like I look back on like the nostalgia of a shoe
because they played longer than I did. I left a little bit earlier than they did, and they got a little bit deeper in the USA. So I think it'd be cool if we got them on the show and talk about the like USA experience and what it was like
in the playoffs
to be
an
Olympic athlete,
and then like
American athlete,
and then they start releasing these shoes again later
before
on. There's already been this hype created at the beginning that there's this one shoe that comes out, only Jordan's got it,
1000%.
and everyone sees it on his feet, and they're like, oh my god, how do I get my hands on it? And then that just creates this whole like
look, you can't afford it.
This
is one of those times where you just can't. You got to shoot the shot.
And now people can finally start to get their hands on it. That's why those
are you going out for both?
Retros, like when they come back, there's already this hype.
I will do everything that I can to make it happen.
Already released.
We'll see though. I don't know. It's gonna be a long shot.
I think it's just people that feeling of like the Gatorade commercials, like Mike.
I'm your girl Kels. Find me on Instagram at Kelsey Cristiano. No H in Cristiano.
I totally get that.
Ronaldo.
That factor is definitely huge.
Give us a follow at
Kobe's.
Podcast.
I mean, I think the Kobe's have that factor.
Kobe's
a little bit different because I think his hype comes a little bit with his collaborations on who the shoes are with. Like undefeated creates that hype.
_hollows
of the streetwear culture.
House of
everybody
Trade
wanted to be
_
undefeated
INC.
in LA. Like Undefeated is a huge streetwear brand if you're not familiar with them.
It's a wrap.
But that's what